Alex adjusted his backpack as he stepped carefully over the moss-covered rocks. The planet, named Zephora, stretched endlessly with its violet skies and floating crystal formations that shimmered in the sunlight. He had landed here weeks ago to study the strange flora, collect samples, and send back data to Earth. So far, everything seemed peaceful, almost too peaceful. But Alex knew better than to trust a calm alien world completely. The air smelled sweet, like honey and rain mixed together, and he could hear the distant hum of creatures moving through the dense forests. He kept his eyes focused on the ground, mapping out areas rich in bioluminescent plants. When he noticed a small clearing ahead, steam rose from a natural hot spring at the center, and the water glimmered in colors he had never seen before. Greens, blues, and hints of gold that shimmered under Zephora's twin suns. Alex sighed and smiled. The day had been long. His muscles ached from climbing rocks and wading through strange alien vegetation. He decided to take a short break and wash off the grime. He carefully stepped into the water, feeling its warmth soothe his tired body. The world felt distant for a moment, and he allowed himself a rare breath of relief. Unbeknownst to him, he was not alone. High in the trees, Lyra and Leor, twin alien siblings, observed quietly. Their large, iridescent eyes reflected the colors of the hot spring. They had never seen a human before, and their curiosity burned brighter than any caution. Small whispers passed between them, a language of clicks and chirps that Alex couldn't understand. Alex, feeling the warm water against his skin, didn't hear them at first, but as he leaned back and closed his eyes, he heard the faintest rustle of leaves above. He opened one eye, trying to make out movement. That's when he noticed two small shadows leaping from branch to branch, landing cautiously near the edge of the clearing. He froze. The twins, equally startled, stopped mid-step. Their eyes widened. In an instant, both realized that this was not a typical animal. It was something different, something with skin like the bark of a tree but moving and naked. Oh no, Alex muttered under his breath, realizing the situation. This is bad. Very bad. Lyra and Leor tilted their heads, puzzled. Humans looked fragile, yes, but also different. Their lack of covering made the twins feel something strange, a mix of confusion and awe. In their world, exposure of the body was not the same as here on Earth, but there was no aggression in Alex's posture. He wasn't threatening. He looked embarrassed, tense, and careful not to make sudden movements. Alex quickly tried to cover himself with a towel he had brought along. Hi, I'm not dangerous. Please, just wait a second, he said, his voice calm but urgent. The twins made soft clicking noises, communicating rapidly with each other. They didn't understand the words, but Alex's tone, his gestures, and his careful body language told them that he meant no harm. Slowly, they backed away a little, keeping their distance but continuing to watch. Alex tried to relax, realizing that panicking would make things worse. Okay, he said softly, this is awkward. For both of us, I guess. I'm Alex, I come in peace. I'm just working here. I didn't mean to intrude. He pointed to the equipment he had left near the edge of the spring. Tiny scanners, sample containers, and a portable analyzer. I study plants. Nothing else. The twins tilted their heads again, and Alex noticed how symmetrical they were, like mirrors of each other. Their skin shimmered faintly like liquid metal, and their eyes were large and expressive. Alex felt a strange admiration for their beauty and grace, even in this tense moment. He decided that humor might break the ice. I promise I'm not normally this exposed, he said, holding up his towel with a sheepish grin. It's just hot springs, you know. Lyra clicked softly, and Leor's eyes seemed to narrow in amusement, or what he assumed was amusement. Alex chuckled nervously, realizing that aliens might not understand jokes. But it was a start. The twins stepped slightly closer, moving with caution. Alex noticed that they were not hostile. They were curious, and their curiosity matched his own. He decided to slowly explain his presence with gestures. He pointed to himself, then to the equipment, then to the forest around him. His hands moved carefully, illustrating his research and intentions. Lyra and Leor mirrored his gestures, trying to understand. They even mimicked some of his hand movements, which made Alex laugh quietly. It was strange, like teaching a language through simple motions. Still, it worked. They started to trust him bit by bit. After a few minutes, Alex thought he had a chance to stand up and retreat slightly, giving them more space. But just as he did, A small alien creature scuttled past the edge of the spring, startling everyone. Lyra let out a sharp chirp and Lior jumped back instinctively. Alex raised his hands in peace, stepping back as well. It was a tense moment, but also a turning point. The twins now saw that Alex could remain calm under sudden stress, a quality that they seemed to respect immediately. Slowly, they moved back a bit, their curiosity overcoming fear. Alex took a deep breath. He realized that he had been lucky. Many humans might have panicked, shouted, or made sudden movements. But his training, his patience, and his ability to stay calm had turned what could have been a disaster into a moment of cautious curiosity. He decided to try one more thing. He slowly picked up a small, glowing plant from the edge of the spring and held it out to the twins. It pulsed gently in his hand. Lyra and Lior leaned forward, their eyes reflecting the soft light. Alex smiled gently. See? Nothing to fear, just interesting things. We can share. Lyra clicked again, a softer sound this time. Lior made a low hum. It was the first sign of communication, a gesture of trust. Alex felt a surge of relief. For the first time, he realized that humans could connect with alien life without aggression, using patience, intelligence, and simple kindness. The twins moved closer, circling the spring cautiously, watching Alex as he continued to gather samples. They were fascinated not only by his appearance but by his calm and careful ways. Alex in turn observed them, noting their grace, symmetry, and the unusual patterns of their skin. He thought about how different life could be across the galaxy, and how humans might appear to other civilizations. As the suns began to set over Zyphora, casting long shadows across the forest, Alex dried off and dressed, still keeping a friendly eye on the twins. They had not moved away. They were still watching, still curious, and strangely respectful. He realized that this accidental encounter had created an unexpected bridge between human and alien life. For Alex, it was more than embarrassment or a funny story to tell later. It was proof that humans could adapt, communicate, and survive even in completely foreign worlds. And he could see that the twins, in their own alien way, were beginning to understand that too. By the time Alex packed his equipment and prepared to return to his base, the twins had disappeared into the forest, leaving only soft glowing footprints behind. Alex smiled. He knew this was just the beginning. He had made first contact in the most awkward way possible, yet it had worked. As he walked back through the crystal-strewn forest, he thought about the day's lessons. Patience, calmness, humor, and empathy were tools as powerful as any weapon or technology. And humans, he realized, could shine in ways even aliens might not expect. The encounter had been awkward, surprising, and completely unexpected, but it had also been a moment that could mark the start of something extraordinary. Humans had a way of turning even the strangest accidents into opportunities for connection, and Alex knew that the twins would remember him just as vividly as he would remember them. The twin suns dipped lower in the sky, painting Zyphora in colors Alex had never imagined. And somewhere deep in the forest, Lyra and Lior watched silently, curious, thoughtful, and perhaps even a little impressed by this strange, resilient human who had stumbled into their lives in the most unexpected way. It was, Alex thought with a small grin, a day he would never forget. Alex trudged through the thick, bioluminescent underbrush of Zyphora, careful not to step on the glowing plants that littered the ground. The forest had changed since his first encounter with Lyra and Lior, the alien twins. Everything seemed alive in a different way now. Branches shifted slightly as if they were breathing, and small luminous insects hovered in the air like floating lanterns. He paused by a tall, twisted tree, letting out a tired sigh. The incident at the hot spring had been embarrassing, yes, but also fascinating. Humans had a way of adapting to awkward situations, and Alex had already seen that his reaction had left an impression on the twins. But he hadn't seen them again since that first meeting, and curiosity gnawed at him. As he moved forward, he noticed movement in the canopy above. Two figures leapt gracefully from branch to branch, Lyra and Lior. They had returned, watching him silently from a distance. Alex froze, then slowly raised a hand in greeting. The twins tilted their heads, large iridescent eyes blinking in unison. They made soft clicking noises that echoed through the trees, a melodic sound that Alex realized was some form of communication. He crouched slightly to appear less threatening, aware that his human posture could seem intimidating to them. Alex realized that words alone would not work here. These aliens had no experience with human language. He needed a new strategy: gestures, expressions, and objects. Slowly he reached into his pack and... The morning sun on Sci-Fi cast golden beams through the twisted trees, and Alex woke to the sounds of the alien forest coming alive. Tiny, luminescent insects flitted about, their wings sparkling in the light while the soft hum of distant creatures filled the air. It was another perfect day for exploration, and Alex's excitement was palpable. Today he wanted to venture further into the forest, toward a grove where he had spotted rare bioluminescent plants. He packed his equipment carefully: sample containers, portable scanners, and a small field notebook. Everything was in order. He had learned from previous days that patience and caution were essential on this planet. Just as he was about to leave, a rustling in the nearby foliage caught his attention. Lyra and Lior emerged silently from the trees. Their large, reflective eyes were fixed on him, observing his movements with curiosity and intelligence. Alex smiled and held up a hand in greeting. "Good morning," he said softly, knowing they couldn't understand the words but hoping the tone would communicate peace. The twins tilted their heads, a subtle motion that Alex had come to recognize as their version of acknowledgement. They had been observing him since the previous encounter at the hot spring, and their presence now felt more like companionship than cautious surveillance. As Alex moved toward the grove, the twins followed at a careful distance. Today, he thought, he would attempt a new form of communication, a combination of gestures and simple signals that could help them understand his intentions more clearly. He knelt down to examine a cluster of glowing plants and pointed at the sample, then at himself, then at the twins. Lyra and Lior mirrored his actions, carefully touching the plants as if to show that they understood the connection. For a while, the morning passed peacefully. Alex marveled at the twins' curiosity and intelligence. He realized that these small, awkward interactions were slowly building a bond of trust and mutual respect. But as the sunlight filtered through the trees, something shifted in the forest's atmosphere. A low rumble began to echo through the distant hills, a vibration that made the ground tremble slightly beneath Alex's boots. Alex frowned. He had studied Zyphora's environment for days, and this was new. "That doesn't sound normal," he muttered. He scanned the horizon, his eyes narrowing as he tried to pinpoint the source. Suddenly, a massive shadow moved across the grove. Alex froze. Ahead, a huge alien creature emerged from the dense foliage. Its body was covered in dark, glistening scales, and multiple limbs ended in strong, claw-like appendages. The creature's head was large, with glimmering eyes that seemed to observe everything around it. Lyra and Lior hissed softly, their bodies tensing. Alex quickly raised his hands in a calming gesture, hoping to prevent panic. He knew the creature was not yet aggressive. It was curious, just as the twins had been when they first saw him. But it could easily cause damage if startled. Alex needed a plan. He scanned the environment, noting large rocks, fallen branches, and a narrow stream nearby. The creature was too large for a direct confrontation, and any sudden movements could provoke it. Alex had to rely on his human ingenuity. He gestured to the twins, pointing at himself and then at the creature, trying to communicate a sense of caution. Lyra and Lior clicked softly, seemingly understanding that Alex intended to lead them safely. Together they edged backward, staying calm and deliberate in their movements. Alex picked up a small branch and waved it slowly in the air, creating a visual distraction. The creature's eyes followed the movement, giving Alex an idea. He carefully tossed a few glowing leaves he had collected earlier onto the ground near the stream. The bright colors caught the creature's attention, and it bent down to examine them. "Good," Alex whispered. "Just follow the plan." He slowly moved backward, leading the creature toward the stream. Lyra and Lior mirrored his movements, staying close but not interfering. The creature sniffed and studied the glowing leaves, seemingly intrigued by the sudden change in its environment. Alex saw his chance. With careful precision, he guided the creature along a winding path that led it away from the grove. Each step required patience and calm. He could feel his heart racing, but he maintained a steady demeanor, knowing that the twins were watching and learning from him. The creature paused near a cluster of rocks, its large eyes scanning the area. Alex slowly raised his hand, signaling a pause. Lyra and Lior froze as well. After a tense moment, The creature turned its attention to a set of fallen branches and began nudging them with its limbs, distracted by the objects Alex had strategically placed. Perfect. Alex breathed quietly. Just a little further. Step by step, he led the creature toward a wide clearing, away from the delicate grove of bioluminescent plants. Lyra and Lior moved alongside him, observing every action. Alex realized that this moment was more than just survival. It was a demonstration of human intelligence, patience, and creativity under pressure. Finally, the creature wandered into the clearing, distracted by the colorful plants and the rocks Alex had positioned. It began exploring the area without posing a threat to the grove. Alex lowered his arms, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. He turned to the twins, giving a small smile. Lyra clicked softly and Lior hummed. Alex interpreted the sounds as a form of acknowledgement. They had witnessed human ingenuity firsthand, and perhaps even admiration flickered in their eyes. Humans were capable of solving problems calmly, without violence, even when faced with unknown and potentially dangerous situations. As the tension eased, Alex knelt by a small stream and dipped his hands into the cool, clear water. The twins mirrored his actions, crouching carefully at the edge. Alex smiled, realizing that learning through observation and shared experience was the foundation of trust between species. After a few minutes, he gathered some samples from the stream and nearby plants, making sure to handle everything gently. The twins watched intently, occasionally mimicking his careful movements. Alex explained through gestures. These were samples, important for study, nothing to fear. The rest of the morning passed with cautious exploration. Alex guided the twins along safe paths, showing them small wonders of Xiphora, the way certain plants glowed when touched, the patterns of tiny insects moving in unison, and the gentle flow of streams reflecting the twin suns. He pointed, gestured, and mimed explanations, while the twins responded with clicks, hums, and mirrored actions. Alex realized that these shared experiences were teaching the twins about human ways of thinking, careful observation, problem-solving, and collaboration. In turn, he was learning about their culture and intelligence. The twins were highly perceptive, quick to notice patterns, and surprisingly creative in their responses. By afternoon, the group had reached a small hill overlooking the grove. Alex paused, taking a moment to appreciate the view. The forest stretched endlessly, with glimmering plants, flowing streams, and distant creatures moving gracefully through the trees. Lyra and Lior settled nearby, watching him quietly. Alex sat down and patted the ground next to him, inviting them closer. Hesitantly, the twins approached, and he allowed them to inspect some of his equipment safely. He showed them how the portable scanner worked, tapping it gently and letting it emit soft lights. Lyra and Lior touched it carefully, their curiosity evident. "This," Alex said softly, pointing to himself and then to the scanner, "is how we study. Observe, test, and learn, no harm, just knowledge." The twins repeated his gestures, tapping their own chests and then pointing to the scanner. Alex nodded, impressed. They were beginning to understand, not just through observation, but through mimicry and reflection. Humans and aliens could communicate without words, relying on patience, trust, and careful action. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the grove, Alex stood and stretched. "Time to head back," he said, gesturing toward the path that led home. The twins followed, moving gracefully alongside him. The journey back was quiet but comfortable. Alex reflected on the day's events, an unexpected challenge, a massive creature, and the careful cooperation that had kept everyone safe. Humans had a way of thinking that was flexible, creative, and empathetic, a way that could solve problems without conflict. The twins had seen this firsthand. By the time they reached the edge of the forest near Alex's temporary base, the twins paused, tilting their heads as if to say goodbye. Alex waved gently. "We'll meet again," he said softly. Lyra clicked, Lior hummed, and they vanished silently into the trees, leaving only their faint, shimmering footprints behind. Alex smiled. He had survived another encounter, not through strength or weapons, but through ingenuity, observation, and calm thinking, all human traits that were quietly extraordinary in an alien world. That night, as he reviewed his notes and samples, Alex felt a sense of pride. The day had been challenging, but it had also reinforced something he already knew. Humans could adapt, communicate, and solve problems in ways that were both clever and compassionate. And even on an alien world far from home, those qualities could inspire trust and friendship. Alex leaned back, gazing at Zephora's twin moons rising over the forest. Somewhere out there, Lyra and Lior watched too. Curious, reflective, and perhaps beginning to understand that humans were not just different, but special in ways that mattered. The forest was quiet, but Alex knew that tomorrow would bring The morning began quietly on Zephora. A soft mist drifted between the tall silver trees and the air was cool and damp. Alex packed his tools and checked his samples. He had grown used to the alien forest, its strange sounds and glowing plants. But today he felt a little restless, as if something unusual was about to happen. Not long after, he heard familiar sounds, the gentle clicking and humming of the twins. Lyra and Lior appeared from the branches above, landing gracefully on the soft ground. Their eyes shone as they greeted him with cheerful tones. Alex smiled. "Good to see you again," he said warmly. They had become friends now. There was no awkwardness, only curiosity and trust. The twins gestured for him to follow. They moved quickly through the forest, and Alex kept pace as best he could. He wondered what they wanted to show him today. Signs of trouble. After some time, they reached a clearing near a rocky ridge. The air here was different, tense, heavy, and filled with strange vibrations. The twins crouched low, their bodies alert. Alex followed their gaze and saw movement at the edge of the clearing. A massive creature stepped into view. It was unlike anything Alex had seen before. Its body was covered in thick plates of dark hide, and its head carried two sharp horns. Its legs were powerful, and each step shook the ground. The twins clicked nervously. Alex could tell they were afraid. This was not the playful wildlife they had shown him before. This was a true danger. The creature sniffed the air, its glowing eyes scanning the forest. It gave a deep rumbling growl that made Alex's chest vibrate. Lior tugged at Alex's sleeve, urging him to retreat. But Alex shook his head slowly. "If we run now, it might follow. We need to think." The twins looked at him confused. They were used to moving quickly and climbing to escape danger. But Alex knew that might not work this time. The creature was too strong, and the ridge blocked their escape. The human way of thinking, Alex crouched low, his mind racing. He studied the clearing, the slope of the rocks, the plants, and the streams of water trickling nearby. He noticed how the creature's heavy steps left deep marks in the soft ground. An idea began to form. Humans had always survived not by being the strongest, but by being clever. This would be no different. "Listen," Alex whispered, even though he knew they didn't understand his words. He pointed to the ridge and then to the flowing water. He drew quick lines in the dirt, showing how they might guide the creature toward the stream. Lyra tilted her head, trying to follow. Lior clicked uncertainly. But Alex repeated the gestures, pointing to himself, then to the ridge, then to the creature. His eyes were steady. He had a plan. At last, the twins seemed to understand enough to trust him. They crouched beside him, waiting, putting the plan into action. The creature snorted and stepped closer, crushing plants beneath its feet. Alex picked up a stone and threw it to the far side of the clearing. The sound made the beast turn sharply, distracted for a moment. "Now," Alex whispered, motioning for the twins to move. They darted to the side, climbing quickly into the branches. Alex stayed low and moved carefully toward the stream. His heart pounded, but he forced himself to stay calm. He picked up another stone and tossed it toward the ridge. The beast roared and stomped toward the sound, its heavy body shaking the ground. Lyra and Lior joined in, dropping small branches from above to guide its attention. Slowly, step by step, the creature moved toward the water. Finally, its massive foot landed on the muddy edge of the stream. The ground sank beneath its weight. With a loud crack, the soil gave way. The creature stumbled, slid forward, and toppled into the shallow water with a tremendous splash. It roared in frustration, thrashing, but the mud held it down. The stream bed was soft and deep, trapping its heavy body. Alex let out a breath of relief. His plan had worked. The beast was stuck but unharmed. It would eventually free itself and leave, but for now the danger was over. The twins' reaction, Lyra and Lior climbed down quickly, their eyes wide. They clicked and hummed excitedly, circling Alex. Their gestures were full of wonder. Alex laughed softly, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Yeah," he said, "that was close." The twins tapped his shoulders and arms as if checking he was unharmed. Then they began to mimic his earlier gestures. The drawing in the dirt, the pointing, the stone throwing. They were repeating his plan, showing that they understood. Alex nodded proudly. That's it. Thinking before fighting. That's the human way. The twins made a series of melodic hums, almost like a song. Alex didn't know the meaning, but he felt it. It was admiration. Sharing strength. Through calm, after the danger passed, they sat together by the ridge, catching their breath. Alex realized something important. The twins had strength, speed, and agility far beyond his own. But when fear struck, they relied on instinct. Humans, on the other hand, had always relied on strategy, teamwork, and creativity. That was humanity's gift. Not the strongest, not the fastest, but the most adaptable. He thought of Earth, of human history, how people had survived storms, predators, and challenges by planning together. And now, even on a faraway world, that same ability had saved them. Lyra reached out and placed her hand gently over the symbol Alex had drawn in the dirt earlier. She clicked softly, then pointed at him. Lyra repeated the motion. Alex understood. They were connecting his plan to him. They were giving credit where it was due. Building trust deeper. The rest of the day, the twins followed Alex with even greater curiosity. They watched every move he made, eager to learn. When he tied knots with vines to hold tools, they copied him. When he used simple signals to direct movement, they remembered. At one point, Alex found himself teaching them how to make a sling from flexible branches. He demonstrated by tossing a stone farther than he could throw by hand. The twins chirped with delight, trying it themselves. Lyra's stone flew high into the trees, making her laugh. It wasn't about weapons or hunting. It was about sharing ideas, creating tools from the world around them. And that was another lesson the twins now knew. Humans could shape their environment, not just survive in it. Evening reflections. As the suns began to sink, the three sat by the stream. The trapped creature had long since freed itself and wandered off, leaving the forest calm again. The air was filled with the scent of flowers opening to the night. Alex leaned back against a tree, tired but satisfied. Lyra and Lior sat close, their eyes glowing softly in the twilight. He thought of the bond they had built. When he had first met them, they were strangers divided by language and fear. But now, after laughter, learning, and danger, they were companions. The twins had seen something in him today. Not just a human body, but a human mind at work. They had witnessed how creativity and courage could turn fear into survival. Alex smiled quietly. This was why humans belonged among the stars. Not because of strength, not because of power, but because of their ability to turn challenges into opportunities and strangers into friends. A promise for tomorrow before leaving. The twins made a gesture Alex hadn't seen before. They touched their foreheads with their fingers, then pointed toward him. Lyra clicked a soft melody and Lior echoed it. Alex didn't know the exact meaning, but he felt the weight of it. It was a promise. Perhaps it meant respect. Perhaps it meant friendship. He placed his hand over his chest and bowed his head slightly. Friends, he said softly. The twins chirped in agreement before vanishing back into the forest, their forms disappearing into the glowing shadows. Alex sat for a while longer, staring at the stars that now filled the sky. He knew the journey was not over. Bigger challenges would come. But he also knew that humans had something no other species could match: the power to think differently, to adapt, and to inspire trust even in the most alien of hearts. And tonight, on a distant world, he felt proud to be human. The forest of Scifi was alive with color as the twin suns rose over the horizon. Alex woke early, feeling the energy of the alien world around him. Today felt different. There was a tension in the air, a quiet hum that made him pause. Something was coming, something he and the twins would have to face together. Lyra and Lior appeared almost immediately, landing gracefully in the clearing. Their eyes shone brightly, reflecting both curiosity and concern. Alex greeted them with a smile, but inside he knew today could bring a real challenge. He gathered his equipment and began moving toward a distant ridge, guided by the twins' gestures. They were leading him somewhere important, a place he hadn't explored before. Signs of danger as they neared the ridge. Alex noticed changes in the environment. The trees were thicker, the ground uneven and dotted with glowing fungi that made every step a careful one. Soft tremors ran through the earth. Then, in the distance, he saw a massive shadow moving toward them. A creature unlike any he had seen before emerged from the foliage. It was huge, covered in iridescent scales that reflected the sunlight. Its many limbs ended in sharp talons, and its glowing eyes swept the forest like spotlights. Lyra clicked nervously, and Leor's hum sounded tense. Alex crouched low, examining the terrain. The creature was faster and stronger than any they had encountered, and direct confrontation would be dangerous. Alex took a deep breath. This would not be a fight of strength. It would be a test of human ingenuity, patience, and teamwork, and of the trust he had built with the twins. Planning with the twins, Alex gestured to the twins, pointing at the creature, then at the ridge, then